Hey, y'all, it's your girl Maria, and we are back. We're going to talk some current events today, or just gossip, right? This is the tea on P. Diddy. Is that what they say now? What's the tea? So, most recently, today actually, he is put on suicide watch as he awaits trial behind bars. And honestly, they're doing this according to People. Diddy was placed on suicide watch as a preventative measure. On Wednesday, Diddy's lawyer argued that he was not a flight risk or dangerous. Really? Is that what we're going to go with? I think Cassie Ventura has a different opinion on this based on that 2016 leaked video from the hotel where he was beating her and dragging her through the floor of a hotel hallway. And it was very clear that it's him. And he was saying like, oh, he's not a flight risk, he's not dangerous. But the prosecution shared text messages from Diddy to his ex, basically following the attack on her in 2016 to argue that he should remain behind bars until trial. Diddy allegedly said in those text messages, call me, the cops are here, I got 6 kids, you please call, I'm surrounded, you're gonna abandon me all alone? Yes, she is. And you deserve to be abandoned and all alone and left to basically your own survival skills in that prison cell that you're going to be sitting in because you know how they treat men like you.
Message!
He pleaded not guilty to racketeering, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution and maintains he is an innocent man. He said the same thing about Cassie Ventura back in 2016, and years later it turns out he was not an innocent man. So much so that when he fled the country after they did the raids in his house in Manhattan, Miami, and Los Angeles, by the way, Father of the Year award, he left his kids behind and they got arrested. He didn't come to their aid. But after that video surfaced from wherever he was, he decided to go ahead and release a video saying, I'm so sorry for my actions. I have no excuse, this and that. And so you were apologizing for what you said you did not do because you did it. So I don't believe a word of anything he says. It's kind of hard to believe someone who behaves that way and has that tendency to behave that way. Anyway, I didn't really fully understand the indictment, so I went ahead and looked it up. Here it is. I'll leave a link below for you guys to review it for yourselves. It's quite a doozy. I read the whole thing, but I'm just going to point out some of the key points of this indictment, which again, it's like Joe Pesci, Robert De Niro, Al Capone, mobster enterprise you should only see in the movies. This should not be real life, right? I thought we were done with that era. Apparently not. He has tried to revive it and it's coming, the walls are caving in on him. So the defendant abused, threatened, and coerced women and others around him to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. This was his associates as well. These were the people who worked for him as well, helped him conceal his conduct. I have quite a few choice words, but we'll get to that. To do so, Combs relied on employees, resources, and influence of the multifaceted business empire that he led and controlled, creating a criminal enterprise whose members and associates engaged in and attempted to engage in, among other crimes, sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. That's a laundry list. In this as well, what they found during these raids, over 1,000 bottles or 1,000 bottles of baby lotion and lubricant that was used in these freakouts, which is basically a big orgy fest that he forced on people to do and then recorded it so he could use it as a blackmail later to destroy their career if they didn't succumb to his will.
What the hell is wrong with you?
You're an evil person for doing something like that. And this is allegedly, right? Like this is all allegedly, but I'm of the opinion that they had to have found something to push these kind of indictments. I don't think you could have just done this without having some type of proof, right? So at all times relevant to his indictment, the defendant engaged in a persistent and persuasive pattern of abuse towards women and other individuals. It could have been verbal, emotional, physical, and sexual. Great. But he was raping people on top of everything else. To ensure the participation from women by, among other things, obtaining and distributing narcotics to them, controlling their careers, leveraging his financial support, and threatening to cut off the same, and using intimidation and violence. So we're going to blackmail, we're going to abuse, we're going to drug you on top of everything else.
There's a special place in hell for people like you.
Unbelievable. From at least 2009 through now, or until recently, I guess, he has been assaulting women by striking, punching, dragging, throwing objects at, and or kicking them, right? As an abuse victim survivor. I have a huge problem with this. What makes your life any better than somebody else's that you can treat them in such a way? It doesn't. And this is where they talk about Cassie Ventura, where assaults were at multiple times witnessed by others, including in one instance at a Los Angeles hotel in or about March of 2016, which was captured on video and later publicly reported, where Combs kicked, dragged, and threw a vase at a woman as she was attempting to leave. When a member of the hotel security staff intervened, Combs attempted to bribe the staff member to ensure silence. So he was paying people off. There's so much that goes into this, and it is just unbelievable. They talk about the cover-up of his abuse and commercial sex, how his employees were sent out to carry out and facilitate these staffs. Then this is what really, really, really like took me for a loop. After these freakouts where it was basically like a huge orgy where he forced people into submission and recorded them while he masturbated to them, doing all of this, they were so drugged up that he would have IV fluids. They would be administering IV fluids later to basically flush out their system and help them recover, which means not only were they coerced, but they were definitely not consenting adults to be able to do this. So there's a whole lot in this indictment. I would encourage you to read it if you want to know, what everything is entailing here.
Yeah, some of it's pretty messed up.
Honestly, like, how is it that this type of evil still exists in the world? You were in a position of power and you wield great strength with that power, and instead of doing good, you did evil. Instead of helping your community, you literally oppressed them. In this indictment, it also says if someone tried to leave and they wanted to distance themselves from Diddy, and he did not, or was not ready to allow you to do that, right? He would send his goons after you and bring you back.
Get over here!
Where there was visible marks, well, he kept you under lock and key. Entrapment, unlawful, what do they call that? It's an unlawful imprisonment, right? Because that's imprisonment. False or unlawful imprisonment when you're keeping somebody under lock and key to recover from their injuries that you inflicted on them just so you wouldn't get in trouble. Yeah. That was terrible. That's a terrible thing to read. You are kidnapping people. In the freakouts, members and associates of the Combs enterprise, including high-ranking supervisors, security staff, household staff, and personal assistants and other Combs business employees, facilitated the freak-offs by, among other things, booking the hotel rooms for the freak-offs, stocking the hotel rooms in advance with the required freak-off supplies, including controlled substances, baby oil, lubricant, extra linen, and lighting. Cleaning the hotel rooms after the freak-offs to try to mitigate room damage, arranging for travel for victims, commercial sex workers, and Combs to and from the freak-offs, supplying Combs with requested supplies, delivering large sums of cash to pay off the sexual co-workers, and the scheduling of the delivery of IV fluids. When they raided his house, that's where they found narcotics, more than 1,000 bottles of the baby oil and lubricant. Yeah, this isn't looking good for him.
You're screwed.
Quite frankly, since we'll go on alleged, it's not looking good for him, but I'm glad, because if it's going to take him off the street, good. And anybody in his enterprise who is explicit in any of these acts should be carried off and thrown in jail, and you throw away the key. That's my personal opinion on the matter anyway. We'll see how it all pans out in court, but it's not okay what happened here. And I hope to God that he doesn't get away with this. So now he's under suicide watch, and I was trying to think, like, why would he be under suicide watch? And they say they're taking it as a preventative measure. I don't know if there's something more nefarious going on there, because they did that to Epstein and then he was suicided. And let's be honest, he didn't act alone.
No, it wasn't an accident.
I don't think he committed suicide. I think he was suicided. And I think if he all of a sudden ends up dead during suicide watch, it's probably because it was arranged that way. We don't know how many people are involved with this. We don't know who the list of people are. Now, during his 50th birthday party, there was a video that circulated that he was releasing the names off of his birthday list for his party. I'd be asking all of them questions. I would be asking all of them questions. Anyway, what do you guys think? What do you guys think of this entire situation? Let me know in the comments. I would love to continue following this story, but this is by far one of the craziest things I have heard from someone who seemingly was out of the limelight. You know what I mean? He has a big name, a huge name, worldwide notoriety, right? And he was doing this. And you know, Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, now Diddy, how many others? And who are the victims? And are they going to be courageous enough to step forward? And it's heartbreaking. And I feel bad for the victims because they were forced into this. And if they didn't do it willingly, they were beaten into submission for it. That's insane. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. And let me know if we should continue carrying this story through and seeing where else it goes. Anyway, that's going to do it. See y'all in the next one.